Listen, sometimes life doesn't give you more so you can keep it. It gives you more so you can share it. And this story will change the way you see abundance forever.
In a small, peaceful town, surrounded by rolling green hills and a gentle, sparkling stream, there lived an elderly woman everyone lovingly called Amma. Her cottage stood on the edge of the village, simple but full of warmth, with a tiny garden, a few fruit trees, and a wooden fence that whispered in the wind. Amma had lived many years, long enough to lose her husband and long enough to know that life doesn't have to be full to feel complete. She had no children of her own, but she was never truly alone because she had Poppy, her little white hen, with soft feathers, black spots on her wings, and a bright red comb that bobbed when she walked. Poppy wasn't just a pet, she was Amma's companion, her shadow, her tiny friend who followed her everywhere, clucking as if giving her opinion on every topic. Every morning, before the sun had fully climbed into the sky, Poppy would lay a single warm, smooth egg. Amma would pick it up gently, hold it like a treasure, and whisper, "One is enough, my dear. May we always have just what we need." She would boil half the egg for breakfast and save the other half for dinner. Her life was simple, calm, and beautifully content. But one day, something unusual happened. Poppy laid 2 eggs instead of 1. Amma blinked in surprise and whispered, "Well now, isn't that generous?" She ate 1 egg as usual and took the second egg to the market. She didn't sell it for a high price. She asked for just enough for a handful of rice and a small piece of jaggery. The next morning, Poppy did it again, 2 eggs, and the next morning too. Soon the villagers noticed the little hen who seemed to bless Amma with double gifts. Everyone had ideas. "Sell both eggs," someone said. "Feed Poppy more and she might lay 3, another insisted. "Think bigger. You could get 10 hens, start a business, make money." The world pushed her to expand, grow, scale up. But Amma simply smiled with her soft, warm eyes and said, "1 for me and 1 to share. That's enough." Instead of chasing profit, she gave the extra egg to someone who needed it more. Sometimes she handed it to a poor family. Sometimes she gave it to children walking home from school. Sometimes she left it quietly on someone's doorstep without saying a word. Bit by bit, she became known in the town as the Egg Amma, the woman who always shared what she had, no matter how small. She didn't do it for attention. She didn't do it for praise. She did it because it felt right. And then the monsoon arrived. The rain didn't just fall, it roared. Days passed under dark clouds as the stream overflowed, fields were destroyed, and many families struggled to put food on the table. People lost crops, income, and hope. Yet every morning, through the storm, Poppy kept laying 2 eggs, steady and reliable. And Amma, who had been saving many of the extra eggs, boiled them, pickled them, preserved them, and quietly gave them away to those who needed them the most. She walked through rain and mud, leaning on her cane, her shawl soaked but her heart steady. She never asked for a single coin. She never asked for anything in return. She simply gave. One afternoon, as the rain still tapped against the roofs of the village, a group of struggling villagers came to her cottage. They were frustrated, tired, and confused by the unfairness of life. One of them finally asked, "Amma, when Poppy started giving more, why didn't you sell those eggs? You could have earned money before the rains. You could have bought things you needed. Why didn't you try to make more?" Amma looked at them with the calmness of someone who had lived long enough to understand the truth about happiness. She placed a warm hand on the nearest shoulder and said, "Because true happiness isn't about gathering more. It's about loving what we already have and sharing it when the time comes. I kept only what I needed. The rest was a gift meant to be shared." At that moment, something softened inside the villagers. They looked at her differently. They looked at themselves differently. Because suddenly, it was clear. This woman, with so little in the eyes of the world, was richer than all of them in ways that truly mattered. Poppy clucked and nestled against Amma's feet, as if proudly agreeing. And in that simple scene, an elderly woman, a tiny hen, and a group of humbled villagers, a deep life lesson lived and breathed without needing loud words or dramatic moments. True happiness doesn't come from collecting more. It doesn't come from chasing more. It comes from appreciating what we already have and choosing to share it when the time comes. The world often tells us that success means more. More money, more things, more fame, more everything. But Amma showed that sometimes success means knowing when you already have enough. Sometimes success means slowing down instead of scaling up. Sometimes success means choosing peace over pressure. Amma lived in a small cottage, yet her heart was larger than any mansion. She had very little, yet she gave more than many who have plenty. She reminded everyone that one small act of kindness, one extra egg, one moment of generosity can echo further than anyone can see. When the rains ended and the sun returned, the villagers rebuilt their lives with new understanding. Many of them began helping each other more. Some shared food. Some shared tools. Some simply shared time. Amma's example had spread quietly but powerfully, the way dawn light softly spreads across the sky. The world didn't change because someone shouted. It changed because someone cared, because someone shared, and because someone believed that enough is enough. Poppy continued laying 2 eggs each day, and Amma continued giving one away. She didn't change her rhythm even when things became normal again, because kindness wasn't something she did only during hard times. It was her way of life. And that is the greatest lesson of all. Kindness is not a reaction to circumstances. It is a decision, a mindset, a choice. The choice to see abundance where others see scarcity. The choice to give where others hold tight. The choice to appreciate instead of complain. The choice to live with gratitude instead of greed. That is what made Amma truly rich. That is what made her truly happy. Her quiet, steady way of living became a whisper of hope for anyone who watched her. She showed that you don't need wealth to give. You don't need fame to matter. You don't need crowds to make an impact. All you need is a heart willing to share. One small act, one small egg, one simple kindness. And that is the kind of riches the world needs more of. Not the kind that fills pockets, but the kind that builds souls. Not the kind that buys things, but the kind that builds people. Not the kind that fades, but the kind that grows. So, whenever you feel like what you have isn't enough, remember Amma. Whenever the world tells you to rush, to hustle, to chase more than you need, remember Amma. Whenever fear tells you to hold tightly to everything you have, remember Amma. And whenever life gives you 2 eggs, an extra blessing, an unexpected gift, a moment of abundance, do what Amma did. Keep one and give one away. Because when we lift others, we lift ourselves. When we give, we grow. And when we choose kindness over greed, we become rich in the ways that truly matter. Rich in compassion, rich in peace, rich in happiness. That is the kind of wealth that can never be washed away, not even by the heaviest monsoon. And that is the kind of wealth every heart is capable of creating. Just like Amma, just like you.